Hello, my name's Camden.
Cameron remembers a past life on the remote Scottish island of Barra, over 200 miles away from his home in Glasgow.
I lived in the White House with my mum and dad and my 3 brothers and sisters.
And he just talks about, I was in Barra and I fell through to you.
Norma Macaulay is a single mum who lives in Glasgow with her 2 young sons.
Well, I've got 2 boys, lovely boys, not even if I say so myself. I've got Martin, who's 6, and I've got Cameron, who's 5.
Since Cameron first started to talk, he has described life as a child on Barra, a remote island in Scotland's Outer Hebrides.
I lived in the White House with my mum and dad and my 3 brothers and sisters.
From the age of 2, Cameron has been telling his family the same story. As he's grown older, the story hasn't changed. It's just become more detailed. Barra lies off the western coast of Scotland, 220 miles from Glasgow. It can only be reached by a lengthy sea journey or an hour-long flight. It's a tiny, distant outpost of the British Isles and is home to just over 1,000 people.
My favourite place in Barra was the beach, and I took my dog with me and I play with him and my brothers and sisters to play.
He used to say, I'm a Barra boy, I'm a Barra boy.
Cameron even claims to know his Barra dad's name.
Shane Robertson.
Shane Robertson? Yes, sorry, that's Shane Robertson.
It's just the fact that he's just consistent in, you know, the things that he's saying and the story that he keeps coming up with. And over the 3 years, he's never wavered from it. If you look at his face when he's telling you these things, he believes they're true.
This is Cameron.
Hi, Cameron.
Cameron, you saying hello?
Hello.
I'm Dr. Pepper. How are you?
This is Dr.
Hi,
Pepper.
Martin. What can you tell me about the house that you lived in?
It was white.
How many stories were there? Was it just one level or was it more than one?
One level.
Yeah. Did you see your dad get knocked out by the car? Yeah. You remember his name? Yeah, what was his name?
Shane Robertson.
Shane Robertson. Do you remember what he looked like?
He had spiky hair and he always wore shirts.
Spiky hair? Is that what you said?
After 3 years of listening to Cameron's descriptions of life on a remote island, Norma and Martin are taking him on a journey of another lifetime.
I could see the beach when I looked out the window, and sometimes my brothers and sisters could go by themselves, and I looked out my window seeing the planes land on the beach. And my brother said the black funny and how he died as he just go like that.
He has provided some clues about the location and the period in which he says he lived on the island.
Since he's talked about the planes landing and talked about phones, what sort of era would that put him in?
More than likely after the war.
After the
More than likely after the war.
And since he's talked about the plane landing and seeing...
Next morning, they receive a phone call from Callum McNeil at the Heritage Centre. He wants to speak to them urgently. He has some new information.
They informed me that there were people living with the name Robertson on the north end of the island, in a house by the shore. It's a white house by the shore. Couldn't get much closer to the shore.
Callum's records were only for properties owned by islanders, but the Robertsons were from the mainland.
And when were they there?
60s, 70s, I believe.
They follow a small coastal track. The house comes into view as they turn the final corner.
Is this your house?
No, you get sad. Is this your house? Yeah? It's okay.
What?
Just below the house, there are rock pools, and there is a gate to the beach.
There's a gate round there. They said that was the secret way. They called it the secret way onto the house. He's just saying he's excited, but he's sad as well. Can we come in?
I could see the beach when I looked out the window, and sometimes my brothers and sisters could go all by themselves, and I looked out my window and I saw them playing.
Norma has arranged a meeting with Ruth Borum, a genealogist who has investigated the Robertson family history for her. She has found that the Robertsons came from Glasgow and that they owned the house on Barra for more than 20 years. She has traced a Gilly Robertson, who still lives in Scotland.
But you don't know when and you don't know the surname. And I've been able to find a phone number and an address for Gillian and her husband.
Gilly Robertson would have been a child holidaying in the house on Barra at the same time as Cameron believes that he lived there. He now has a name and telephone number for a living member of the Robertson family. The search for answers is nearing its conclusion. This is the house that 5-year-old Cameron believes was his home in a past life. He believes that he lived here with his family, the Robertsons. The house, which exactly fits Cameron's description, was once actually owned by a Robertson family who spent their summers here in the 60s and 70s.
This is the house here, and down below the house, a lovely beach.
Was that what it was like when you were in Barra?
Yeah. But could you recognise it quite well when you went to see it?
Although you were saying it had changed.
Yes, you see, I think it has changed. I think the person who's bought it now has modernised it.
Yeah.
I played in the beach and took my dog and played fetch with my dog at the beach.
Could I ask you, when you went to Barra, did you have a dog? Was there a dog there?
Well, certainly Callum and Peggy, who lived in the house, they had a dog, a sheepdog.
Yeah.
The black and white dog is just as Cameron remembers. But what about the name of his Barra father, Shane Robertson?
Yeah. Well, certainly there aren't any Shanes in our family. I don't know of anyone in our family who died in a car accident.
That's how I was curious as well, if maybe even there had been a child in the family had passed away, or...
No, certainly there were no deaths of children in that close family.
So while many parts of Cameron's memory fit with extraordinary precision, others do not. The family name matches, so do the physical details of the house, the island and the dog. But the name and death of the father figure do not.
If these, in fact, were past life memories, then we have to look at the question of why some of them were correct and some weren't. Was this just a remarkable coincidence, or could it be something more? He could have had memories from more than one life, and they could have gotten mixed in together. There's just a lot that we don't know about it.
I think that since Cameron's been to Barra and the fact that we've seen it for ourselves, it's as if it's put it to rest in his mind that he doesn't have to go on and prove it anymore, and he just seems so calm about it. Before